And, maintaining that strength, I've known many players who are very strong for the first few rounds of a day.
Sure.
I think, I could even include myself in that category. For the first 5 rounds of a day, I can play extremely well, and I'm very, very happy with how I'm playing. But rounds 6 through 9 in a day, I start to peter off and start making mistakes.
You don't think about stuff you don't think about sometimes you'll get that tournament ache in the back of your neck from leaning over the table, looking at your cards, hunching down, and that wears you down. It really erodes your ability to focus, and they're looking at that stuff, which I think is amazing, right? They're actually approaching it very much the way a professional team, like a professional sports team in many ways. I think it's really admirable.
And table presence is also something that's not really talked about enough.
Speaking of table presence, we have 2 people present at the table, Josh Utter-Leyton and Leonardo Labruna. I don't really know anything about Leonardo other than his nationality. Yeah.
I believe he's one of the Brazilians who has been traveling the U.S., hitting a lot of the Star City Open events, and has been going to all the available Grand Prix when there are Grand Prix to go to in the U.S. I got a chance to meet a few of them over the past few weeks. And they're kind of just taking a road trip around the U.S. on a vacation, just playing Magic.
That's awesome. Josh Utter-Leyton, formerly a U.S. national champion.
Yes. I was very happy to see him hoisting up that trophy. He's somebody who I feel like maybe overlooked on the Channel Fireball squad.
And like I said, right now, he's the guy, who is out in front of the pack.
Even after,
Oh, actually, it might be Kibler now. Actually, he was going into the event. It's a fairy conclave on the Brazilian side of the table on an island. That looked like.
So it looks like Leonardo will be playing mono blue fairies here. A very strong deck. One of the best tier 1.5 decks, as a lot of people like to say.
If you had a snap call on the Hallowed Fountain, you'd say Clawblade?
I'd say Clawblade.
This is really like a showdown of the 2 aggro control archetypes of the last 2 major archetypes in that category.
Yeah, and this is going to be an interesting match. Traditionally, Leonardo's deck has a very good matchup here. However, Josh has a Vidalcan Shackles in his hand, and anybody who is used to playing the mono blue mirror, so a remand hits that spell.
Right. So he played Spell Stutter Sprite just to start getting his fairy critical mass on, and
he also has a Cyan Moon in his hand, so that Spell Stutter Sprite would actually represent a decent amount of damage. This Vidalcan Shackles in Josh's hand is just game over if it resolves, by the way.
Mono Blue has no good way to deal with a main deck artifact on the board? Is what you're telling me?
It does not.
It's interesting. Pretty bold statement you make there, Jake Van Loonen.
It is, however, important that Josh is able to stick that Vidalcan Shackles before Leonardo is able to double up on Cyan Moon.
So he
targets himself.
So, pushes a Snapcaster Mage to the bottom.
That's a mode of the Dilling Click that's not used often enough, I feel.
And a lot of times you'll see people will just kind of dump their hand out on the table before you've actually announced targets, which is a poor idea because you're just giving away free information. They could, if they haven't chosen the target, they could even just choose something else than they were thinking about in their head at that point. Like, oh, I don't really care what's in your hand.
At Worlds, when I was testing one year, I played against Gabriel Nassif playing a mono blue fairy mirror. And every time he cast Vanillion Click, he targeted himself. And ever since then, I was like, hey, wait a second.
Great. Good enough for one of the 4 best players in the history of the game.
Good enough for me.
Yeah.
All right, so Spellstutter getting in there for 1 against Josh. Going to knock him down to 16 here. Josh is going to get a chance to crack back for 3, but he knows that Leonardo's deck has access to a lot of instant speed creatures, so he's going to be offering a trade when he makes this attack.
We have 4 slots remaining.
Now, Josh could go for this Vidalcan Shackles, but
booster draft.
We don't know what's going to happen here. Oh, a mana leak.
That's interesting. Like, don't you feel like he could have used the clip more proactively to protect? I mean, clearly, in your mind, the Shackles is like the linchpin of this matchup.
I think it's by far the most important card here.
So, like, being able to protect that, maybe push him in a league, see what was going on, get a lay of the land.
But also, I think that's something that comes from me having played Mono Blue Fairy Mirrors over and over and over again in an old extended format. And Vidalcan Shackles may not seem like it's the most obvious card to be like game breaker in a blue versus blue matchup. Oh, but it looks like Josh has an extra copy of Vidalcan Shackles in his house.
Oh, okay. So he actually just Vendilion clicked him with a Vidalcan Shackles.
Yes.
And so it's really important to know, like, just what cards your opponents are going to value, what they're going to, invest their counter magic in, and be able to just, if you have redundant copies, just be able to, sculpt your opponent's hand with your spells sometimes.
Ooh, and a Tarmogoyf for Josh here. That's a card that it looks like Josh is not on Caw-Blade.
Ha!
He's playing
like next
some
level,
type of next level Bant-ish sort of thing. Previous level Bant.
And maybe we get an idea of why he'd happily... Oh, there's the Cyanabuna you were talking about.
And another major reason why Josh may have gone for the Shackles that turn is, his opponent had 3 lands in play, and he may have just wanted to see if it was possible to stick it before his opponent started, misbind clicking him.
Sure. Which looks imminent.
Does Leonardo have misbind in hand?
It sure looked like that to me.
If you signed up for Mini Master number 1, your event is ready. Mini Master number 1 is ready.
So I don't know if you guys can hear the announcements in the background at home, but do you get a bigger range of events, right? Modern Grand Prix, Mini Master side of it.
All right, so Leonardo coming in for 3 here at the Scion and the Spellstutter Sprite. Now that he sees the Tarmogoyf from Josh, he doesn't really have any fear of anything coming down to block that.
I mean, you're not worried at all about the Vendilion click taking out your Scion, but I guess he's got counter magic or he's got something in his hand.
And if he clicks Legendary, so even if he...
is it? There's still... Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Still got the V-Click live right now. Now, brings upkeep. Leonardo not going to bite and go for the misbind during Josh's upkeep. It's something that you love to do against people who aren't playing blue, but against people who are playing blue, often a very dangerous play.
I mean, it's pretty hard to find people in Modern not playing blue.
That's true. Jund.
Yeah. Jund with blue.
Jund with blue. They usually splash blue for Rise Call nowadays, right? Alright, and a Tarmogoyf coming in. Knocking Leonardo down to 14 here. Or, I'm sorry, no, he was already at 14.
There's your misbind click.
And the nice thing about an end of turn misbind click here for Leonardo is that it really forces Josh to make a play here. Because if he doesn't make a play, he just got time walked.
Yep.
And does Josh have a Cryptic Command in hand? If he does, I imagine he's going to use it right now. He may even go so far as to Tectonic Edge a Fairy Conclave.
It certainly looks like he's setting his man up that way. Would you go so far as to bounce a land and bounce a Fairy Conclave and Tectonic Edge a land? No. Nope.
Ooh, he bounces the Scion. I like that play a lot. He's taken all of the wind out of Leonardo's sails now. Leonardo has a full grip, but now they're playing a blue mirror where Leonardo has 3 lands in play to Josh's 5 and has a significantly weaker board position. That's going to force Leonardo to commit like a decent amount to the table, and that'll give Josh the opportunity to resolve the Vidalcan Shackles and just lock up the game. Very nice engineering of this series of plays from Josh here.
Right, and by getting that sign out means, yeah, there's no chance of having two in play here.
And that's a major issue, because if Leonardo is able to have two science in play, then Vidalcan Shackles goes from being the best card Josh could have to being pretty
much
laughable.
pretty useless.
Yeah.
So Leonardo, by the way, was did play in Honolulu.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he's qualified on Planeswalker points for Latin America. Doesn't have any kind of notable finishes. This may have even been his first Pro Tour experience.
Ooh, and a Vendilion Click for Leonardo. Any targets? Josh.
We have 4 spots remaining in the standard Winnows.
And I think Vidalcan Shackles is a clear pick here.
Still signing up Mini Master.
Spell Snare.
Twisted
And
Draft.
Leonardo agrees with me.
Yeah. Was that Spell Snare, Misty Rainforest, and another Mistbind Click?
I think it's a Vendilion Click, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
So now his Tarmogoyf is 4 power. It's a 2-turn clock. Let's see, Leonardo without a 4th land. Really hurting here. In face of Vendilion Click, going to reveal his own Spell Snare, put it in the bottom of his library, and draw an extra card.
Taking the lessons of Nassif to heart.
Yes. Remember what I said? When I played against Gerald Nassif, he targeted himself every time. Now we're watching Josh Utter-Leyton target himself every time. Maybe everybody's got it wrong.
Well, I mean, you end up with so many cards in this matchup. Like Mana Leak's a card that can go from 0 to 60 depending on where you are in the game. Remand, the same thing. Spell Snare is a card we saw. Sometimes it's just not that impressive for you. So you get to sculpt it.
Spell Stutter Sprite.
Right. Yeah. So you get to just sculpt things the way you want them.
And a 3-power flyer for 3 mana with Flash. Pretty impressive guy.
Whatever, he's legendary. Big deal. Big deal.
It's just so good, the card. I mean, like against combo players, you can obviously target them and disrupt them. In these types of matchups where, certain cards are significantly more value than other cards, you can just sculpt your hand. Get rid of like spell snares after you're past the spell stutter stage of the game.
Right.
And so on and so forth. Get rid of the Mana Leaks once your opponent draws more lands. Now if Josh attacks with both here, Leonardo's going to be forced to either activate the Conclave and block, or okay, so he's just going to just attack with the Tarmogoyf. Again, Leonardo could just cast another parried instant speed. He does have the Scion. Right, and Leonardo's hands
full of gas.
Good. Well, he's stuck on 3 lands. No
Sure, which is why your hand will be full of gas. Exactly. So Legendary's the Vendilion again. Deciding who he's going to target.
Yep, he's thinking about it here. Oh, the Path to Exile is going to hit that Sign of Una. That's something that's really nice to do with Path to Exile in these types of matchups. You wait till the very last possible moment to use it, because here, Josh...
Well, at any time sooner, that would have actually possibly tipped the match in Labruna's favor, just having the extra land.
And now we're at the stage of the game where, it almost doesn't matter, like, Josh is leaning on him so hard. All right. Oh, but actually, if Josh doesn't have a counterspell here, this could just be it. Leonardo could just, resolve Vidalcan Shackles and run away with this game.
How big is the Tarmogoyf right now?
I believe it's a 4/5.
We have instant creature, land,
Instant creature, land, artifact.
artifact. We don't have any sorceries.
No.
So here it goes. He's like, here goes nothing.
But at this point, if you don't resolve that, you're just going to be chump blocking, and
Right.
Tarmogoyf's just going to be an abyss.
Now they're gonna. All right, no more. Then there's no more shackles for Utter-Leyton.
Another Tarmogoyf.
Gets it in around the spell snare.
The one turn that would have worked.
Yeah.
Now, Leonardo's just going to be forced to pass here. Tarmogoyfs will just bounce off one another all
Yep.
day, both being 4/5s. Tarmogoyf's toughness being one higher than its power has been something that has caused some strange things to happen over the years. Cards like Shuko, being good, even when you didn't have your Nomad Zankor or Cephaled Illusionist deck.
I think we're gonna see him bounce and draw. Yeah. Turn those spell snares on.
Yeah. Strong play
Again,
there.
we're looking for Brad Strychek. Brad Strychek. Please come up to the event stage.
Fairly aggressive use of the spell stutter in that spot. So you have a lot of lands down. You have the Fairy Conclave.
He spell stutters the way Josh Vendelian clicks. I just want a 1/1.
That's all I want. Oh, if he's activating and attacking this turn, that makes a lot of sense.
Josh is down to 4, so
It makes the Tarmogoyf lethal in one swing.
it's going to get spell snared.
And I think that's it.
Josh is going to make him go through the motions.
Just attacking with the Tarmogoyf, and Leonardo wins the game. Again, he was able to resolve Vidalcan Shackles, and that's what happened.
Yeah. You said. I mean, you said that was the card that this match is going to come down to.
Yeah. In these types of matchups, that card is just going to be what matters more than everything else.
Right.
And I think one of the major things that we're going to see post-board is that Josh has access to ways to kill Vidalcan Shackles, where Leonardo does not.
In multiple colors.
Yes.
So Josh Utter-Leyton, by the way, just I'm not sure where he finished last weekend in Honolulu, but whatever points he added to his total lifetime, he's at over 130 lifetime pro points. He's only been playing since 2008 on the Pro Tour.
It's really, really impressive.
So he's like Hall of Fame class 2018, eligible.
And, I mean, it doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah,
so
he's level 8 right now for...
it's basically a lock for Hall of Fame in 2018.
Yeah, he's level 8, 41 points in this current season that ends with Pro Tour Avacyn Restored, so he's platinum. So you're going to see him go to as many events as possible. He has a full-time job, which makes... He's probably the most time-challenged member of Team Channel Fireball after Luis, who, has time challenge just herding cats all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. 15 Pro Tour appearances for Josh, 2 top 8s, and most recently finished second in Philadelphia to Samuela Estradi.
Wow, that's, having a top 8 retention above 10% is pretty good. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and he's had a couple close calls along the way too. So, you know, he only has 2 Grand Prix top 8s, and that may very well be that he doesn't travel as much.
He's restricted by work. Very nice membership bonuses for Platinum.
Yeah.
Some really, really nice stuff.
Yeah, just, you know, appearance fees, flight and airfare, flight and hotel, and all sorts of good stuff.
Still signing up Commander and Mini Masters as well.
And, you know, and know that you're locked up for next year as well, for next season. I mean, that's really
Just have this, like, huge advantage.
That's just really a big deal, like, to be able to just know.
This comfort.
Yeah. You know, I mean, a lot of these guys, in addition to playing, right, they write about Magic. Josh, you know, writes and does videos and stuff like that. And, like, you know, just knowing you're going to be able to be in the midst, you know, in the thick of, like, high-level Magic for another 2 years also just gives you that confidence to
it's
fully engage in the lifestyle. Yeah. Been singing for your supper. It's like, here's my tournament report about getting to day 2 of Pro Tour Honolulu, but not quite getting anywhere. You know. And in conclusion, I hope I qualify for the Pro Tour again.
Yes. Here are my mistakes. Here's what I'm going to do next time to fix them. Well, now I'm back trying to get there again.
How different? I mean, you've certainly lived on both sides of that fence. How different is it playing on the Pro Tour and preparing for Magic on the Pro Tour, as opposed to preparing for Magic on that kind of like weekly PTQ Open Series Grand Prix, like trying to get to that next level, back to that next level, or to that next level? How different's the mentality?
Extremely different. Like there's an overwhelming defeatist mentality once you're off. So perfect mana there for Josh. His first 2 turns from Seachrome Coast and the Temple Garden.
He's all banted out.
Perfect mana for Leonardo there and his 2 lands, 2 islands.
Again. Spell stutter for beats. But again, I guess he knows there's also not any 1-mana spells that he wants to deal with in
the early turns.
In the early turns, yeah. He really.
There's Vendilion Click again.
It's kind of interesting too, because you don't know. Maybe a little side effect of like targeting yourself with Vendilion Click. You don't know what your opponent's going to do, and does that change your decision about whether or not you're going to counter it? Like, if you think your opponent's going to... I mean, he targets Leonardo this time, but like if you think your opponent might just be using it on themselves, are you more likely to let it resolve?
That's a good question. No, I don't think so.
It still hits pretty hard.
People are always like less inclined to counter things that help their opponent than cards that hurt them. And
so you're saying the bonus itself is even like the ability to sculpt a card from your hand to opt, as it were, is just bad news?
Yeah, it's just bad news. Like, you know they're getting ahead. You're playing a blue control deck. Like, them putting a card in the bottom of my deck. Like, when people V-click me and I'm not playing a combo deck, I'm usually just like, okay, cool, I draw a new card. Like, that's fine.
Maybe it'll be better.
Yeah. You don't even know.
You don't know what good stuff is in here. I haven't even drawn my good rares. Push the Scion Arena?
I believe he pushed the other Vendilion Click.
Oh, okay.
So, dodging Legend Rule. But, it's an interesting choice to push that Vendilion Click to the bottom, because Leonardo has 2 Scion-Amunas in his hand, so he's still going to have plenty to do every opportunity that he would have cast a Vendilion Click.
Right. And there is the Shackles.
Yeah, and that's a Resolve Shackles.
Cost 3, so the Spell Stutter Sprite kind of was just like a Spell Stammer Sprite there.
No, I imagine, it's a weird spot. Like, Josh only has one island, but one's all you need. Because I mean, he can take the spell stutters with the one, and even if Leonardo tries to cast the Scion to save the spell stutters, he can just take the Scion.
Right.
And next turn he's just going to be able to play another island anyway. Ooh, but a Mistbind's going to put a little stammer on that plan. And it does not look like Josh has the correct iteration of mana to be Cryptic Commanding here.
The correct iteration being any combination of 3 blue and 1 other.
Yes. And Cryptic Command is just so good. Backbreaking. But Mistbind Click also very good. Josh is going to use his Shackles here and take that other spell stutter sprite. Was that Mistbind Click off the top?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was.
I would assume it was. That was not a very good turn of events for Josh.
There's another island. Virtual.
And I mean, this Vidalcan Shackles being on the table makes me believe that it's going to be extremely difficult for Leonardo to win this game. He's playing blue. Like, I don't really know what he could have to interact with it. Well, like Steel Sabotage, things like that.
Counter.
Yeah, like Repeal is the old way people dealt with it. Steel Sabotage is kind of like the new card
we've seen a lot of, right?
The new card people have been using from time to time.
Take 5. I mean, Josh is already at 12. 11.
Yeah. I mean, he's taking some serious damage here. And Josh knows that Leonardo has another Scion in his hand, so he's going to have to take the Scion during Leonardo's main phase.
So let him get the spell stutter strike. Let him get the spell stutter strike. I agree. Yep.
And he does precisely that.
We
But
have 2 spots remaining in our next
this is an unfortunate spot for Josh because he's going to be on 4 lands this turn instead of 6. Or he's going to be on 5 lands this turn instead of 6. So he's not going to be able to use Vidalcan Shackles and Cryptic
Few
Command.
people in that one. We still need to get to 8 for it to happen. Lots of fun and twisted draft. You should give it a try.
He can't let Leonardo on top of him.
No, he cannot.
And it appears we have 2 spots remaining in our next standard winner box.
It's just too much.
Josh falls to 10. Sideboard Hidetsu's second right is going to be pretty
Going to be backbreaking.
pretty backbreaking here, yeah.
Cascade Bless, Hidetsugu's second right. It's legal.
I would pay money.
I would also pay money for that. Sign comes on over. And now Josh is at this stage of the game with Shackles where he can start blocking pretty aggressively.
Right. Oh, and there's a Geist of St. Traft.
Ooh.
Cross format all-star.
I guess St. Traft is one of those cards that has been talked about a lot. And I mean, coming into this tournament, a deck that has 4-0'd the 2 most recent daily events featured 4 Geist of St. Traft. It was a Bant deck, and it played Angelic Destiny, and that kills people in 2 hits.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. I've seen that in standard, people playing birds and just putting that guy into play on turn 2, putting an Angelic Destiny down on turn 3.
And here in Modern, you also get to play Elspeth with it. Elspeth
Sure.
Nightrant.
Taking a Scion every turn here.
Yep.
Crunch all you want.
May I have that Scion? May I have that Scion? And every time he takes one of these Scions, it lets him crack in for 4 with the V-Click. And he's not playing fairies, but
Yeah.
conveniently, that's what he wants.
4-8. He actually cracks for 10, right? If he gets the hit with the Geist as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, have you seen the Geist CNA play in Legacy?
I have.
Yeah. So he really just has gone block all
Yeah,
the way
seen play
up the eternal curve.
Yeah, I mean, in Legacy, what's interesting about the Geist is...
Attack for 10.
Yeah, 10. That's a big hit. Yeah, but in Legacy, the blue-white decks couldn't beat a Punishing Fire a month and a half ago. And then everybody was like, wait, why don't we just put Geist in the sideboard? Suddenly, you beat a Punishing Fire.
Yeah.
Players, you signed up for booster draft number 9. Your event is ready. Please come up to the event stage.
Looks
booster
like
draft number 9.
that's a Vendilion click, or
Josh now has Cryptic Command to
and
defend,
the mana to
use
deploy
the
it,
Shackles
yeah.
and Cryptic. So
we're gonna see game 3. Is what we're saying
yeah,
here.
we're gonna get to see a nice game 3 here. That Vidalcan Shackles, man.
How big is it for Labruna's deck to be able to play?
I think it's going to be
With
pretty
the spell,
huge.
the spell stutter sprites seem much better on the play, and same thing with the Scions.
Yeah, I mean, all of the Mono Blue Fairies deck, when it's on the play and has a proper draw,
Right.
will beat just about everything.
It looks like a Threads of Disloyalty actually is what Labruna's considering here.
And we haven't seen any Tarmogoyfs from Josh, and he may have actually sideboarded them out. I mean, Mono Blue Fairies is a deck that has Threads of Disloyalty in its sideboard, and it sideboards them in specifically whenever it sees a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah.
And Josh is very good. Josh probably knew that. Josh is like, he saw a Tarmogoyf.
Players,
Maybe even the Geist of St. Traft
please come up to the event
comes
stage.
in that slot. We don't know if it's main deck or not. We didn't see it in game 1.
It looks like Josh has a Nature's Claim in his hand, so that is a Vidalcan Shackles answer. So in the War of Vidalcan Shackles, Josh's deck will win. And unfortunately for Leonardo, that seems to be the war that matters here.
Kind of interesting. I almost wonder if you'd like to see Phantasmal Image in this deck. So sort of the same thing we saw Finkel's deck, where he's able to go Drogskell Captain, Phantasmal Image, and then have this kind of unbreakable lock in terms of
the
the
same
creature
thing
thing.
with Scion.
Right. I'm saying you go Scion, copy Scion. That's pretty sweet.
It's really sweet.
Because it feels to me like the only way Labruna's going to win is if he resolves 2 Scions.
Yeah, he double Scions up.
1 spot remaining in the standard winner box. 1 spot
And
remaining
even then, he
in
might
the
just get
standard winner box.
run over. Fire up Magic Online and build this deck with Phantasmal Image.
Alright, still a ton of damage coming at Leonardo right now. And Josh is going to path this. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe, I don't know if Leonardo realized the Spell Setter was coming back, because the path, the Spell Setter would come back.
Right.
And he would get to block and live there. But, I mean, at that point, he's so far behind.
Yeah.
He would need to...
Yeah.
He would
At
need
some
to
point,
have that insane mono blue thing.
There
But,
you
I mean,
get a look at Josh sideboarding. Sometimes you also just you get into that mentality. Your opponent's like, do something. Your opponent's like, do something else. And you're like, all right,
Yeah.
you got me.
All right, you got me. Yeah, just pack it in. But when you're playing the mono blue fairies deck, I don't think there's ever really a reason to pack it in if you're not completely dead, because you never know when you're just gonna rip 4 cryptic commands in a row. It happens.
Yes.
And if you draw a lot of cryptic commands in a row, you will beat anything. as long as you have something on the
tap your
table.
team, draw a card.
Yeah, tap your team,
Gets
draw
you
a card.
gets you
attack
out of a
you.
lot of
Draw a
trouble.
card.
Snapcaster Mage, draw a card, tap your team.
Yeah, the first time somebody Snapcaster Maged a cryptic command against me, I almost threw up.
Did they bounce their own Snapcaster Mage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking for the following 2 players.
But
It's on Magic Online.
Hope
yeah.
Tara didn't really understand what was going on. I was like, are you serious?
Once again, looking for Type Hope.
Screaming at my computer.
Yeah.
Corey Ashline, please come up to the event stage. Your booster draft is waiting.
Start using edited for TV cursing.
Yeah.
I got found in the Alps. So who do you like here in Game 3?
I think I still like Josh even on the draw. I think the fact that he has artifact removal is really important here. I also like that Leonardo left in the spell stutters. I think a lot of people might have been tempted to take them out in a matchup like this because
But he seems to view them just as like part of his Air Force, right? Like they're just like he's not romantically attached to them countering spells, right? He's just like get this guy out there, Scion him up, get in for 2.
Yeah, he's playing this deck in like a very aggressive manner. Like if he's playing the way he's playing, I'm surprised he doesn't have Psionic Blast in this deck. To be honest.
Well, he had to cut something for the second right, you know.
Yeah. I mean, if he had a Psionic Blast in either of those 2 games, he would have won.
Right. A card we'll keep an eye out for this weekend. Let's see if these Psionic Blasts show up in the feature match table.
That would make my weekend. If somebody's playing Psionic Blast here, I would very much like them to do well. Maybe a mono blue fairies with like sort of fire and ice. Psionic Blast. The problem is that if you're not drawing cards, you can't afford Psionic Blast and mono blue fairies there.
It looked like a land-heavy hand for Labruna.
Yeah.
I saw like at least 4 lands.
Yeah, and multiple mana leaks too. And if he's, I don't think he really wants to be playing too hard of a control game on the fly.
Right. Oh, and I gotta tell you, Josh is the type of player. I see Labruna just says go. Josh seems like he's the kind of player who's pretty happy to say no, you go. You know, he's like pretty happy to just sit back and go and get into a staring contest. You know, he's got a lot more answers than Labruna does.
And not to mention the fact that, I mean, again, he has artifact removal.
Right. No, that's
that's what you're
among,
talking about,
among the things I'm talking about.
Yeah. And I see Vidalcan Shackles in the opening hand of Josh. Josh grabbing a Hallowed Fountain, pulling a 19 there. You know, the fetch lands in conjunction with the Ravnica Shack lands really make the mana bases so perfect.
Yeah.
I appreciate the reprinting of fetch lands because of that. And there it comes. No fear.
So it's Mutavault now.
Now, if Josh were just to attempt to resolve the Shackles here, he would. But it's pretty risky. I don't know if he'll go for it. Oh, the Air Force coming in.
All right, you've remanded it.
It's actually quite a good thing Josh didn't go for that, because Leonardo could have actually just activated Mutavault and then Spellstutter did.
Right.
It would have been a disaster.
Standard Winnabox number 3. Please come to the event stage.
Josh is willing to get into a staring contest even when his opponent's attacking him with things. So.
Yeah. That's 2 tectonic edges. And you can use those in response to each other.
Yeah.
And he can kind of nuke Josh back to the Stone Age here.
And when you're on the play and you have the double tech edge draw and a blue mirror, it's pretty brutal.
And, keep him, away from Cryptic Command mana, keep him just...
Off green mana altogether.
Ability to get into any kind of fight. The best he can muster at that point is a Scuffle.
Leonardo going for a misspine click here.
Once again, if you're in standard win a box number 3.
Josh uses Snapcaster Mage to flashback remand.
We'll check you in and get your judge to see
Sending the misspine click back to Leonardo's hand.
Number 3 is now ready.
Leonardo only has 1 blue to work with here, so he wasn't able to back that up with Spell Snare for the Snapcaster or the Remand.
Not looking very good for Josh here.
Upkeep, tap you out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of damage coming at Josh right here.
He's at 13.
Alright. So Leonardo chooses to just attack for 4. It's Josh down at 9 here. I think at this point, Josh really just has to pull the trigger with something.
Well, I mean, and there's only 1 blue, like we said, for Labruna, so he can probably defend something.
Yeah, you can certainly defend something reasonably well at this point.
Can Labruna mess with his island count here enough to...
Yes, you can mess with it. Josh only has 4 islands in play, so Labruna could tech edge an island, thus, hindering that Valkyrie Shackles greatly. He could also activate his Mutavaults and then go for a Spell Stutter Sprite.
Right. Opts to remand it.
And that's his only blue mana, so... Josh can just recast now.
We're still taking summons for Booster Draft. Standard, or any format for that matter, win a box, Single Luminations, Mini Master, Commander, and Twisted Draft. We do have
so he drew Island Sinamuna off his Remand and Draw Step. Just about perfect.
Oh, Scion. It's exactly what we talked about him needing.
Yep. That's going to be really rough for Josh.
Unless Josh has what?
I don't think
Pyroclasm? I mean, a Whip Flare?
Yeah, double Scion is just going to make that Shackles useless. Card that was the most important card of the matchup. Now just a dud.
Yeah.
Top 8 prizes. First place is also guaranteed free entry to GB Columbus and
I choose not to block with my
Second
Scion
place would
Luna.
also receive free entry to those Grade increase as well. Pack prices are subject to increase based on attendance. If you're interested in the Modern Challenge at 5, you can come and sign up for that event as well.
All the blue is there now, and yep.
And that's it.
Josh extends a hand.
Leonardo is able to take down the match. Enjoying that sign of it on the last turn, super important there.
Yeah.
Since I think Leonardo probably would have been able to bring it down anyway, though. He had the double tech edge. He had a lot of different things going on.
Right.
So able to curve out very well. Josh didn't do much in the early game. Just played a lot of draw go. Was kind of haymakered by miss mind click when your opponent does not have the counterspell for it.
Yeah.
It's just backbreaking.